They smile when you walk in. They congratulate you when you win. They say all the right things at exactly the right moments. And yet something doesn't add up. You can't name it. You can't prove it. But every time you achieve something, something in the room shifts. Something tightens. You start wondering if you're imagining things. Maybe you're too sensitive. Maybe you're reading too much into it. Maybe the problem is you. You're not imagining things. This video is going to show you exactly what's happening and why understanding it will change how you move through every room you walk into for the rest of your life. We are going to cover 7 specific behaviors that jealous people cannot control. Patterns so deeply rooted in psychology that once you know them, you spot them in seconds. And more importantly, you stop them affect you. But first, let's understand what jealousy actually is. Because most people get this completely wrong. Carl Jung spent decades studying what he called the shadow, the part of ourselves we refuse to look at. The drives, the desires, the ambitions we've buried because acknowledging them felt too uncomfortable. Jealousy, Jung argued, is almost never really about the other person. It's a mirror. It's the shadow speaking. It's your own buried desire. The thing you want but told yourself you couldn't have. Screaming at you through something as success. This is why jealousy feels so personal to the person experiencing it, and so confusing to the person it's directed at. Because it was never really about you. It was always about what you represent to them. Researchers at the University of Kentucky found that jealousy activates the same neural pathways as physical pain. It literally hurts, and when people are in pain, they behave in predictable and often destructive ways. Those ways are what we are going to break down today. 7 patterns. 7 behaviors, all of them driven by the same thing, the unbearable gap between where they are and where you are. Let's start with number 1. Behavior number 1. The backhanded compliment. Also known as the compliment that leaves you feeling worse than if they say nothing at all. You know the ones. Wow, you actually did it. I didn't think you had it in you. You look amazing. I can't believe how much weight you've lost. You really needed that. That presentation was so good. Honestly, I was surprised. The structure is always the same. A compliment that contains within it a buried insult, a lowered expectation, or a reminder of a past failure. It's designed, not always consciously, to give one hand and take with the other. Psychologists call this envy-driven downgrading, the unconscious need to reduce someone else's achievement to a size that feels manageable. Because if your success is acknowledged fully, it makes their position feel even smaller. Here's what makes it so effective as a weapon. It's deniable. If you call it out, you look oversensitive. I was just giving you a compliment, and suddenly, you're the problem. How do you handle it? You don't take the bait. You accept the service of what they said, the compliment part, and you move on. Don't explain. Don't defend. Don't dissect it in front of them. The backhanded compliment only works if you react to the hidden insult. Take the compliment, leave the poison. Over time, if you watch for this pattern, you will notice something. The people who give the most backhanded compliments are almost always the people who've never given you a clean, straightforward one. That's the tell. Behavior number 2. Sudden unavailability. This one is quieter than the backhanded compliment. It doesn't announce itself. It just disappears. You land a promotion, you close a deal, you hit a personal milestone, and the friend who was texting you every day suddenly takes 3 days to reply. The colleague who used to come to your desk now avoids eye contact in the hallway. This isn't accidental. Research on social comparison theory shows that people with low self-esteem experience a miserable emotional withdrawal response when someone close to them succeeds in an area they care about. It's automatic, involuntary even. They pull away, not because they hate you. They pull away because being around you right now is painful. Your presence is a constant reminder of the gap, And until they process that gap, which many people never do, distance is the only relief they know how to find. What's most important to understand here is this. Their withdrawal is about the relationship with themselves, not the relationship with you. Don't chase it. Don't over-explain your success to make them feel better. Don't shrink yourself to close the gap. The people who truly support you don't disappear when things go well. They show up harder. If someone constantly vanishes after your wins, the pattern is telling you everything you need to know. Behavior number 3. Credit stealing. This one has destroyed more friendships and professional relationships than almost anything else on this list. It comes in different forms. Sometimes it's blatant. They present your idea in a meeting as their own. Sometimes it's subtle. They tell the story of your shared project, but somehow their role keeps expanding, and yours keeps shrinking every time they tell it. Sometimes it's the most insidious form. They simply never acknowledged your contribution. The project succeeds and they absorb the credit through omission. They didn't lie. They've just never mentioned you. Why do they do it? Because witnessing someone else receive recognition for something they were part of, especially something they couldn't have done alone, triggers an acute shame response, and credit stealing is the way some people manage that shame without having to face it. How do you protect yourself? Documentation. This isn't paranoia, it's professionalism. Emails that confirm your contribution, meetings where you state your ideas clearly and on record, a habit following up verbal agreements in writing. Not because you expect people to steal from you, but because clarity protects everyone, and the people who rely on confusion to get ahead lose their main tool the moment you remove it. Behavior number 4. Minimizing your wins. Different from the backhanded compliment. This one doesn't dress up as a praise, it just reduces. Oh, that company is known for hiring anyone. You got lucky with the timing. That test wasn't that hard. Anyone could have done that. The goal isn't to insult you directly. The goal is to remove the distance between where you are and where they are by pulling your ceiling down. There's a specific psychological mechanism behind this. Social psychologists call it system justification. The need to believe that outcomes are fair, that success is distributed logically. When your success disrupts that narrative, some people rewrite their narrative rather than update their worldview. Luck, timing, connection. These are the words you'll hear again and again. Never skill, never discipline, never the years of work that nobody saw. Because acknowledging those things will require them to ask an uncomfortable question about their own years. How do you respond? You don't argue the point. You don't defend yourself. You smile, you agree with the parts that are true. Timing does matter. Luck is real, and you keep moving. Your results don't need their acknowledgement to be real. Behavior number 5. Spreading doubt. This is where jealousy becomes generally dangerous. Because it doesn't just affect you directly, it works on the people around you. It sounds like concern. That's what makes it so dangerous. I just don't know if you can trust them. I heard something, I probably shouldn't say anything, but I'm just saying, be careful. It's designed to sound like a warning. It functions like a weapon. The research on repetition sabotage shows something fascinating. Strategically placed doubt is more damaging than direct criticism. A direct attack on someone is easy to defend against. A whispered question, planted in the rear at the right moment, creates a suspicion that no amount of evidence can fully erase. This pattern often increases in proportion to your visibility. The more people notice you, the more someone will feel threatened. And the more threatened they feel, the more they need to manage how the others perceive you, because they can't manage you directly. How do you defend against something you often don't even know is happening? Consistency. The most powerful antidote to repetition sabotage is a track record so clear that doubt has nowhere to attach. The other thing worth knowing. The people planting doubt often reveal themselves over time. They can't help it. The pattern eventually becomes visible to the people they're trying to influence, especially the smart ones. Behavior number 6. Competitive one-upmanship. You share something good. Within seconds, they have something better. You went to Portugal. They went to Portugal and Japan and also have a trip to New Zealand planned. You lost 5 kilos. They lost 8. You finished a marathon. They have training for an ultramarathon. The one-upper isn't trying to share an experience with you. They're trying to neutralize yours. Every time you raise the floor, they need to raise the ceiling. Because the moment your experience goes unmatched, the gap is real and visible. The psychology here is specific. Researchers at Harvard studying competitive behavior found that one-upmanship isn't about dominance. It's about anxiety management. The one-upper is generally distressed when they feel outpaced. The response is automatic, almost reflexive. Understanding this changes how you deal with it. You're not dealing with someone who wants to compete with you. You're dealing with someone who needs to in order to feel okay. That doesn't mean you have to participate. Stop sharing your wins with them, not as punishment, as protection. Some compensation aren't containers for good news. The one-upper isn't a safe place to be happy out loud. You don't have to explain that decision to anyone. Behavior number 7, and this is one most people find others to accept. Some people are quietly rooting for you to fail. Not loudly, not consciously even, but somewhere underneath the supportive words and the congratulatory text. There's a small, quiet part of them that will feel relief, maybe even satisfaction if things went wrong for you. Psychologists call this the Schadenfreude, the experience of pleasure at another's misfortune. It's one of the most documented and least discussed human emotions. Studies show it activates reward centers in the brain. It happens most frequently between people who see themselves as being in a competition consciously or not. And the closer the competition, the more intense the response. A stranger's success barely registers. The success of someone you grew up with, went to school with, started a career alongside, that hits differently. How do you know when this is happening? Watch what happens when you share a setback. People who generally support you will show concern. People who've been quietly hoping for cracks will show something else. A brightness in their response that they can't quite suppress. An energy that wasn't there before. You're not imagining that brightness. It's real. And recognizing it doesn't make you paranoid. It makes you accurate. The response to this one is the simplest of the all 7. Curate your inner circle aggressively. Be generous and kind to everyone. But reserve your real vulnerabilities, your real plans, your real fears, for the people whose eyes go softer, not brighter, when things get hard for you. 7 behaviors. 1 serves. The unbearable awareness of a gap between where they are and where you are, and the inability to close that gap through their own growth, so they try to close it through yours. Here's what I want you to take from this video. None of these behaviors are about you. They were never about you. They're about the relationship that person has with their own unlived life. Carl Jung wrote, "Everything that irritates us about others can lead us to an understanding of ourselves. Every act of jealousy is a confession about desire, about fear, about the roads not taken." That doesn't mean you accept the behavior. It means you stop taking it personally. And the moment you stop taking it personally, it loses almost all of its power over you. The people in your life who cannot celebrate your wins without diminishing them, who disappear when things go well, who spread doubt and steal credit and root quietly for failure. These people are not your people, and no amount of loyalty or history changes that. Protect your peace, not with walls, with clarity. Know who your people are. Give your energy to the rooms where it's welcomed, and keep building, quietly and consistently, the kind of life that makes jealousy inevitable and irrelevant. If you recognize someone in this video, or recognize yourself, Drop it in the comments. I read everything. And the most honest comments are always the most interesting ones. Subscribe if you want more content like this. It generously helps the channel. And I'll see you in the next one.